Wednesday, and I woke up with an epiphany this morning because over the last week I've been doing a ton of Facebook Lives on women's health. A couple weeks prior to this, I was doing Facebook Lives on detoxing, and so many of you guys have been amazing. You've given me great insight as to how this is helping you and what you need to know more about. And there has been a general topic that everybody keeps bringing to the surface, and issues that so many of you guys are having to deal with, and that's anxiety. And it's funny because when I first started to see these trends in anxiety in my own practice and I started to experience it in myself, my initial thought was, well, isn't anxiety coming because you just have too much stress? Like, isn't it just a stress reaction? And, you know, I live in Silicon Valley. There is a ton of stress here. Isn't it just that we need to manage stress better? So for my own self, when I started seeing anxiety show up a couple of years ago, I did yoga, which is great. I started meditating in the morning, which is awesome. I started exercising again, fantastic, all wonderful techniques. If any of you have been to my corporate talks that I go and do on stress management, I teach people how to do 4-7-8 breathing, all very good ways to handle anxiety. But they're not total solutions. And so what people end up doing is they try one or two things, it works for a while, and then they realize that that's not working anymore, and they get stuck. And when you get stuck with your health, there's often a couple of things that happen, I've seen. One is you just reach for medication, it's so much easier. Two is you go into more depression, more anxiety, and really, or three, you just start withdrawing. You withdraw from your family, you withdraw from your friends, because you're hopeless. And I know I'm speaking to a lot of you guys. So I really today want you to get the big picture of anxiety and why so many people in our country, and I know there's a lot of you in England following me, why so many of you guys are experiencing anxiety. Because if you can see that it's coming from several different areas, you'll see that you have more control than just trying to change the external stress that you're registering. And as I show you the anxiety path, I want you also to think about your kids, because my heart is aching for these teenagers that are we're raising right now, and the amount of stress and anxiety that's happening for the kids and the teens. We have to break this cycle. So take notes, follow me slowly here. Hopefully I'm trying to make this as simple as I possibly can, okay? So let me show you what happens. We start off with a stress reaction. Something happens to us. Now, if I came into your house right now and I said, are you stressed? Most of you would say, yes, no, you give me a measurement, but you would only be thinking of external stress. Because when we talk about stress, we just think of external. But there's something that has as much of an impact on your health as the situations around you, and that's internal stress. And internal stress is coming really from two areas. If I can simplify this for you. One of the areas that internal stress is coming from is your gut. So books like Brain Maker, Grain Brain, I mean, there's so many experts out there right now, Wheat Belly, that are showing us that when your gut is off from the foods you've been eating, antibiotics you've been taking, leaky gut, candida, SIBO, all of that has a direct effect on the brain and creates stress for the brain. But what most people don't realize is the same thing happens in your nervous system and your spine. So when your kid's really athletic and they get hit by a bat, or they're playing football and they have a concussion, concussions is a whole nother Facebook Live to do, or they're doing this all the time, or they're carrying heavy backpacks, or they fall from a set of swings. That's an internal stress to the spine, and it starts to affect the nervous system. So you've got damage in the gut, you've got damage in the nervous system, and it starts to send a signal up to the brain. It's the same signal that it gets when your child has to deal with a test, or you're having trouble in your marriage, or your work life is stress. It's the same stress. It's just happening on the inside and you don't even know, which makes it almost a worse stress. And so what your body does when it gets the external and the internal stress is it raises cortisol level. So all of you that have come to me, or you're asking me, how do I lose weight? know that, yeah, cortisol is high, but it doesn't mean you just got to meditate and all of a sudden your stress levels will go down and you'll lose weight. It doesn't work like that. Otherwise, everybody would be doing it, right? So when your cortisol goes up, I want to introduce you to some parts of your brain. When your cortisol levels are high, and they're chronically high, they're high from external and internal stress, your prefrontal cortex, your decision-making part of your brain, starts to get overstimulated. Think about it. When you're stressed, you make good decisions or bad decisions. I don't know about you, but I typically don't make the best ones. Your hypothalamus starts to get overworked and overstimulated. What does the hypothalamus do? It controls your hormones. So if you want to fix your hormones, you're going to have to fix this whole cycle. And then the hardest part, or the worst part, is the hippocampus, is the part of the brain that controls memory. So think about it again. When you're super stressed, or you've been eating really bad foods, or you've been sitting for a long period of time, you know your spine's out of balance, you know, what's your memory like? So it will destroy the memory. And when these three parts of the brain get overstimulated, what ends up happening is they stimulate something called the amygdala. And the amygdala is the center of the brain. And what the amygdala is doing is it's making a decision on if you should have a fear response or not. And so as cortisol goes up, these areas get more stimulated, stimulates the amygdala that is also receiving information from the eyes and from the ears. It's receiving information from motor movement and from your brainstem. This poor little part of your brain has to work so hard. And it's getting all this stimulus all day long, and you're having it's what tells you what kind of emotional response you should have. So think about it for a moment. How many of you guys have noticed that you are like you just react? You're just stressed and angry, and you're just a reaction without even a pause. You don't even have an ability to shut that reaction down. With anxiety, I can tell you what my anxiety felt like. My anxiety was just appeared out of nowhere. I felt dread, or I felt like, oh my God, the world was going to fall apart, but I didn't really have a logical explanation. Why? Because this reaction was happening in my body, in my brain all day long. So here's where you have control. There is an amazing hormone called GABA, and GABA slows our brain down. So with GABA, you want to do as much as you can to secrete GABA. So let me show you. I put another sign over here. I want you to see what is it that causes GABA to lower in your body. So GABA will lower when you're stressed. So we know that. I just explained that. Heavy metals. So check this out. Look back up here for a second. This GABA molecule, this little receptor site for GABA, it gets blocked by heavy metals. So you can't get enough GABA when you have heavy metals in your system. This is why heavy metals, getting those out, changed my life. And so many of you guys that have been through our heavy metal detox, you know this has changed you. I hear it in you, and how you sleep and your ability to relax is so much better because your GABA is going up because your metals are down. So your thyroid hormones, so when your thyroid goes off, guess what? GABA levels go down. Gut bacteria, deficiencies in magnesium and vitamin E, and when you're not exercising. So when these exist in your body, what ends up happening is that your body doesn't secrete enough GABA, and you've got this anxiety reaction that's going on, and you can't stop it. So I will take a picture of this. I will put it on the comment section below so that you can read this and you can look at what you can be doing. Come back over here for a second. You have control here. On this whole thing, you have control here too. Okay, but we've been taught this for years. And I don't know how it's working for you. I'm doing a little bit better in my 47 years. But for a lot of people, they're not doing very well managing that external stress. So start with the internal. Get your nervous system balanced, get your gut repaired, and then work on increasing your GABA, which is through heavy metals would be the first thing I would tell you. This is why in my office, these are the 3 things that we do. Okay? So anxiety, it's horrible. I totally get it. I've been there. But you can control parts of it. You can actually control a lot of it. This is only one part of the equation. So what I'd love to know from you guys, as I know so many of you are experiencing anxiety, I want to know which piece you feel like is potentially controlling your anxiety? Is it, do you know, like have you ever had an x-ray of your spine? Do you know if your nervous system is causing you internal stress and your spine causing you internal stress? How many of you, are you taking a probiotic? Do you know if your gut is causing you internal stress? And how many of you feel like, based off of those things I just mentioned, that your GABA is really low? So just put in the notes section, all three. You can put nervous system, gut, or GABA. Those are the three things that I want to know. So here's one more thing. On Saturday, I am doing an event for women only, and I'm going to teach women how to control this, how to have more of an effect on their depression, their anxiety, their hormones. We're going to go into hormones. I'm also going to teach you how to do it for teach your children. So if you're local, bring your teenager to me, bring your middle schooler to me, bring yourself, get your group of ladies that you guys go out and party and do ladies' night out. Bring them to this event, because I'm going to show you how you can give me any female problem. You can give me any depression, anxiety, weight loss resistance, and I will show you a natural solution. That's what I'm going to do on Saturday. Message me if you want details. It's here in San Jose. If you're out of the area, we are looking at a way to get you information as well. So message me if you want to know how to watch it if you're out of the area. But what I don't want you to do is give up hope. Please, this is, I spent all morning like writing out all these charts trying to figure out, this is totally preventable. This is, there's so much in here you can do other than sit in a corner and meditate, although that's great. There are a lot of things you can do. I don't want you to lose hope. So I hope that was helpful. Please, if you've never heard me say this, but if you've never heard anxiety explained this way before, please put in there never heard, because that helps me understand if I'm giving you new information, because I think that this can transform lives. So please share it, get this information out there. You guys are amazing. I've really enjoyed sharing all the Facebook Lives I've been doing with you. I did my 100th one yesterday. Facebook told me that. That's the only way I knew. Reach out if you need help. Let me know which part. Are you working on GABA? You're working on gut? You're working on spine? And come join me on Saturday. Have an awesome day.